Hello, welcome to Logan's Truth, and today we're bringing you the first update of many on the Logan Willis case. As you all know, Logan was a young man who tragically lost his life back in 2018. His father has been searching for answers ever since. But now, we have some new evidence that sheds light on the case, and today we're going to listen to part of a phone conversation between Logan's father, Charlie, and Haralson County Assistant District Attorney, Rick Poore. In this conversation, Charlie and Rick discuss the new evidence that has been presented to the officials, and you won't believe what Rick has to say about it. You see, despite the fact that there's clear evidence of foul play in Logan's death, the officials have been dragging their feet when it comes to reopening the case, and this conversation only confirms that. At Logan's Truth, we know that justice and accountability are essential, no matter who is responsible for the crime. And in Logan's case, it's clear that there are those who need to be held accountable. So join us as we share this phone conversation and shine a spotlight on the lackadaisical officials who are failing to do their job. Let's ensure that Logan gets the justice he deserves. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on the Logan Willis case. You can also support us at loganstruth.com or email us at justicenow@loganstruth.com.
Trying to clarify those questions and get some answers.
Okay, yeah, he did bring up some good points there that might have been overlooked, but like I say, I was just trying to not looking for an answer, but just there was a lot of things that did not add up there, and
Yeah,
Lee said
I
something,
understand.
and Lee said something about you with y'all might be getting the phone records. With,
We're going to attempt to.
okay, all right, so right now there's no you don't know where we stand with it as far as they're going to reopen it, rechange it from suicide, or
Oh, we don't know any of that now. It's just just preliminary reviewing it now and scratching the surface to see what evidence I got because I'm brand new to this. I didn't investigate it, so I don't. All I've got basically is what Mr. Wilson had put together, and then talking with the investigator that handled the case and getting some information from him, and be speaking with the DBI forensic lab. There's a lot to do. So
yeah.
just go back over the entire case.
Okay, it sounds like we're in the right direction there, and I mean I'm not pressuring you or nothing. I just kind of getting an update. I know it's going to take.
I understand exactly what you're wanting and what you're needing. So I don't blame you, and we'll look at it. We're going to give it a good looking over.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and just keep me informed. I know it's going to take some time. I'm not trying to rush y'all or anything.
Don't worry about it, Mr. Willis. It'll be fine.
Okay.
If I know something and I think I need to speak with you, I will. One thing since we are on the phone, that come to my mind when I was just first skimming over the case was reading through it and seeing about your daughter, and her name is
Destin.
Destin, married the Chris boy.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, and she had. I just wondered what type of communications other than the one that was noted in Mr. Wilson's is her calling you after her son's death and attempting to speak with you regarding the death. Can you tell me about that?
She wanted to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
No.
With you, wanting to convince you that he had actually committed suicide.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that was I talked to her, not right afterwards, because I mean it was like they just secluded me, but as afterwards I called her up and asked her to talk with Mr. Lee. That he was investigating it because that there was things that was we know Logan and she knowed Logan, and we know that he didn't really do that over that girl. I mean that he waited she was due in 3 months. He done told everybody that it might not be his, and if it wasn't his he was going to move on, but if it was he was going to take care of it. So he already know there was a chance that the baby wasn't his, and he done went that long with her. He's not going to go right there at the last minute and do that over the baby not being his. And not only that, I mean, and I asked Destin, I said, would you just please talk to Lee? You know, and we can get this straightened out, or you can tell him, you know, you might be able to help him out. And she refused to talk to him. She said, well, can he meet us at the police station? And I said, sure. And Lee set up an arrangement to where they could meet at the Haralson County Police Department to where they could talk. And she refused to talk to him. She said she didn't have nothing to say to him. And I asked her, I said, Destin, I said, don't you think that just talking to him, I said, that's all he wants you to do is just talk to him. And I said, don't you think we owe that to Logan? And she said that she don't owe Logan nothing. She was there for him whenever he was alive. And they was really, really close. I didn't understand that. I mean, I don't understand why it would be so hard for her just to talk to him. And then with Chris too. Chris, he will not talk to Lee or nobody. I haven't heard from none of them. So she more or less throwed me on the back burner and Lee and would not speak with nobody or nothing. She, as far as she's concerned, it was suicide, is what she said.
Okay. So that's what she said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Well, more contact since then?
No. Sure haven't. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, I was wondering because it was also noted in there that her and Chris were no longer together or were broke up at some portion of time or something like that.
Yeah, right before the thing about it was right before Logan's death is, you know, I was down there. I was actually staying with Logan off and on. I was helping him out, with, the ride or whatever he needed with the baby. And that's how I know that he done talked to me about it, about the baby not being his. And at the time, him and Destin was arguing about something, but I know they was always been real close, and they haven't even spoke in 2 months or something like that. They haven't even talked to each other, and that was really weird, and I couldn't never get no answer from him what they was really arguing about, but he wouldn't even go around her, and she wouldn't come around him, and neither would Chris, So, but I never did get, and then right after Logan died, and then Chris and Destin wasn't even together, at the time that all that happened. And when right after that happened with Logan's death, her and Chris got back together and got married. And I was like, well, why do y'all get married like a week, 2 weeks after Logan's death? I mean, Logan really, he liked them being together because Chris and him was friends. But he wouldn't have ever wanted to see him get married. I mean, but he wouldn't have ever had no, beef with him or nothing like that. It's the only thing I'm saying is there was something going on there. I don't know. But for them not to talk to each other or even be around each other for 2 months, it must have been something pretty serious. And then for them two, Chris and Destin, not to even be together for about a week or two before Logan's death, and then about 2 days before his death, they get back together, and then 2 weeks later, they get married. I mean, I don't know. That just didn't add up. And then when Destin acting like that towards not wanting to find out the truth about her brother, that really shocked me. I mean, so that's a lot of my concerns there is, and then with Chris finding him, they never, they used to work together. And Chris and them Logan used to try to get each other in trouble at work. They used to laugh about it because, Logan was Chris's little pet, his daddy's little pet at work. You know how that works. And so they used to try to get each other in trouble or whatever. So for Chris to go over and try to find Logan that morning to make sure he would come to work, I thought that was awful strange, too, because he would be glad that he didn't show up so he could tell his daddy that, hey, Logan didn't show up, I showed up, So to send him over there to find him, that just didn't make no sense either. I mean, none of it makes any sense at all. And it's not me, and I just want you to bear with me here, as I know a lot of people look for answers, to find out why their son would do something like that. But, sir, I mean, I am honestly saying that is not what I am doing here. I truly and believe, and I know Logan. He was a fearful God man. He even had fear of God on his chest, and he knowed his Bible. And we've had discussions about if you commit suicide years ago, that, would you go to hell? And is it in the Bible? And like I told him, it's not in the Bible that you'll go to hell if you commit suicide, but it's not in there that you will go to hell. So I said, so he was a fearful God person. He wouldn't have took that chance anyway. There's no, he was too young. He wouldn't. There's no way that he would have did that. I mean, it's not me searching for an answer. It's just I know my son, and everybody else was just closed-minded with it and went with what the police said. And I'm not trying to say that the police was wrong. I'm really not. I'm just, I know that.
Well, with the police, you realize I understand exactly. Well, we're going to give it a thorough going over and answer all the questions that Mr. Wilson had put up, and probably some more, because the medical did rule it a suicide upon reviewing the entire case, and so I spoke with her. She's sticking with her ruling, but that still doesn't mean that it's over.
Right.
It just means that we're going to look at the rest of it and see what comes up.
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, as far as once they ruled it, but they not want.
I'm interested. I don't know if you can help me because I don't talk now, but I'm interested in knowing what's going on with Destiny now.
As far as I know, they still living together, and she works as a CPA, I think, with the same hospital or company that Chris's mama works with.
She a CNA?
I think that's yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What company is it with?
I don't know right offhand, but I could send it to you. I mean, it's on her Facebook. I mean, if you pull her Facebook up,
what's her Facebook name?
Destin Willis, Destin Lee. Yes.
Willis?
No, Destin Lee.
Lee.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
And then you look up underneath her about info, and it says where she works at. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her address is Buchanan or Bremen?
Bremen, I think.
Bremen.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as I know, they still staying with Chris's mama, but I mean, like I say, we don't communicate much anymore after, I don't want to argue with her.
Do you know anybody that she still communicates with?
No, not that I know of, no.
Okay. I just wondered if there was anybody that would she engaged in conversation with about things that are going on or that happened that might tell what she sees, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody that she's told things to since this occurred that you would have some kind of contact with.
Right. As far as I know, I don't know of anybody. I mean, not anybody, but I mean, and that's the thing for her to get so over, I don't know how you would say it. I mean, defensive just over just talking to him. To Lee, I just didn't. That was kind of hard to grasp there. And then the same thing with fucking Chris is if you don't have nothing to hide, just go talk to the man. Why don't you want to go? And then she says she says something about, well, you're bringing up the past and you're bringing up bad memories and stuff. Well, how's that a bad? I know it's bad that your brother died, but I mean, how's that bad if you're wanting to find out how he died? And they just refused to talk to anybody. They refused. They refused. Right. So I hope. I don't know about my daughter. I don't know, but that's just weird about her because they was really, really close. They was really close, and for her to marry Chris that quick, I mean, no, it don't really make no sense at all.
Is that what they were fussing about at all? Any possibilities of what was between?
No. I mean, I really don't know. I really don't. I know one thing is because that Destin and her mama, Logan said that they kept calling Deepax to him. And, he had that girl and he was trying to take care of her and her 2 kids and all that. And, he was doing that and they was arguing about that because she kept calling Deepax over there for no reason.
So Destiny was calling, she was calling Deepax to,
Logan and
your son,
Kimberly.
Logan and Kim Cook.
Yeah.
Just because they wasn't taking care of the kids?
No, they was taking care of the kids just because Destin didn't like Kimberly.
Okay.
Yeah. And what now? Yeah. And not only that Destin has a baby by the same guy that Kimberly has a baby by. Austin Smith.
Hold on right there just a second because I'm making some notes as you were talking.
You there?
Yeah, I'm making some notes.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing you said was that your daughter has a child by an ex-boyfriend or husband of Kim Cook.
Austin Smith.
Awesome. Hold on right there just a minute. So Kim Cook and Destiny both had a child with Austin.
Yes. And at the time that let me get how I can put this is when Kimberly and Logan had that trailer, I didn't find this out till later, but Logan and Kimberly left Austin and it took his 2 kids. It took Austin's 2 kids and Logan got that trailer and they didn't tell nobody where they was at. That's what she was leaving Austin and for I think it was, I don't know, a month or so, however long they was in that trailer, that they wouldn't tell nobody where they was living at because they didn't want Austin to find out. So I mean, that's why that in your report, I think it was in the report or something, they had a hard time finding Logan's trailer. It's because Logan didn't tell nobody where he was at. Hell, he didn't even tell me till like 2 weeks, before all this happened, where he lived at. I guess because they was hiding from Austin. So, yeah, but I didn't come to find out.
I'm sure that the Lees knew where he was living at, though.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they probably did. They might have.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, you think there was some bad blood between Destiny and Kim Cook because they had styled by the same guy?
I don't really know if there was any bad blood or not, but I mean, I just know that Destin didn't like Kimberly, and they didn't like Logan being with Kimberly. I just know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as that goes about the baby, I don't know. I just know they had babies together.
You was around this circle co-workers and everybody that Logan had, who within that group do you think would have any reason to want to kill him?
To be honest with you, none of them. I mean, none of them. No. I don't think any of them would have a reason to, but I could see it as an accident. I mean, I could see, because him and Chris used to fight all the time. I mean, they even got into it, Destin, because Chris hit Destin one time, and Destin got in the middle of it, and Destin got a black eye out of me. So him and Chris fought, as friends, they fought. Well, nah, I mean, to give his sister a black eye, getting in between it, not Logan, but, them fighting, they must have been fighting pretty hard because he hit Destin in front of Logan, and I guess they got into it. So, no. I don't know who did it, but she got in the middle of Logan and Chris fighting because Chris hit Destin. Yeah. And, yeah. No, it was on purpose. And that's the reason why Logan got in a fight with him, because he said he wasn't going to hit his sister. And then Destin got in the middle of it. This was like a while before that, but I just know they fought like that. It was a year before that, before Logan's death.
Making notes while I'm not talking.
Okay, that's fine. I mean,
So read my notes later.
I take notes, and half the time I write them down, then I can't read them later. Okay.
Okay, how did you find out about the incident where he blackened Destiny's eye?
Destin. She was telling me about them getting into a fight. She got in the middle of it.
Right. Yeah. So why did she tell you? Did she tell you the reason why Chris blacked her?
No, I didn't say that Chris blacked her eye. She got her eye black whenever. That's what she told me. When she got in the middle of them fighting, is the way she explained it to me. I don't know if Chris did it.
So you just put two together. Chris must have blacked her eye, and that was Logan taking up for her.
No. I just figured it out. The way she explained it is she got a black eye by getting in the middle of her, Chris and Logan fighting.
She tried to make it like it was an accident.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what she was putting it as. Yeah.
You never did question Logan about what the real deal was?
No. I just let that be because it was. Guess it was already taken care of. I mean, I didn't want to keep bringing it up. So she told me about it, and she was more or less just like laughing about it. She got in between them, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see.
So.
Okay. Very well could have been.
Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you. Oh, and actually the day that it happened, as I talked to Logan, and his power was out. And I actually was there that evening, and I left about 6, I think it was 6 or 7, and he was talking about, he went to the power company, him and Kimberly, and the power was going to get turned on the next day because he didn't have enough. They didn't have time to put it in his name, so he was getting his power turned back on the next day. And so, and I told him he needed to get a generator, and I thought it was awful funny because he said, "Well, what's a generator?" And I thought he was joking, and I said, "Son, you know what a generator is." But anyway, I left it. Yeah. And that was the last things that me and him talked about, you know, and I left. And I said, I'll be back. I said, the only thing you need to do is just try to, you know, keep your stuff cold in the refrigerator or whatever. And then I left that evening about 6, and him, Kimberly, and I forgot that other guy's name that was stayed with him. Anyway, I can't think of his name. Shoot. But it's what a Kimberly is. Frankie.
Make a note of it.
Frankie was his name. Frankie. I don't know his last name. Holland. Frankie Holland. That's it. And
hold on just a minute. Frankie Holland.
Yes.
Lived with him?
Yes. Frankie Holland lived with him too. Kimberly and Logan.
Okay. Was he just a friend?
Yeah, he's more or less, I guess, one of Kimberly's longtime friends. Been her friend since she's been a kid. Uncle. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
What?
He's always stayed with Kimberly, and they've always hung out since she's been a baby. So he's always been around. So.
Okay. All right.
And that was awful strange. He died 2 weeks after that.
He did?
Yes, he did. In Kimberly's bed. They said they didn't really know. Nobody really never did say why he died. He just died in her bed at Kimberly's. Said he was complaining. Kimberly said something about that he was complaining about his chest or something, and then he died that evening. And that's all I ever heard about that. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was just, I don't know. That might have been coincidental. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no
telling. Right. But I mean, he was there that evening. But when I left, that's who was there left. It was Kimberly, Frankie, and Logan. And when I left, he wasn't drinking or nothing.
Right.
So, and even his autopsy report or toxicology report come back, and they said that he didn't even have no alcohol or nothing in his system. So, I mean.
Well, if they had that done, then the medical toxicologist and the examiner come to determine, must have determined what caused his death.
They said it was, I think it was not a break, but the result of hanging, I guess, is what they come up with. I mean, I don't really.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the death of Frankie Holland.
Oh no, I was talking about Logan.
No, I'm talking about. So when we're talking about the death of not being unknown about what caused Frankie Holland, you didn't understand it was unknown. You really never was explained. They thought he was just had maybe a heart attack or something.
Maybe so. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, but I was talking about Logan, is that evening when I left, he wasn't drinking, and the toxicology report come back that, he wasn't drinking. And, my son, he was junior.
Did you get to look at the toxicology report?
Yeah, they sent me a copy of it, yeah.
Okay. What did your copy say that he was under the influence of, if anything?
Nothing. He was not under the influence of nothing.
Really?
That's what it said.
I had somebody tell me, I thought that he come back under the influence of methamphetamine or something like that. You sure?
Was it high enough to register?
It wasn't even high enough to register. It was.
Alcohol level was 0.024.
And its alcohol level was 0.2. What was it? 0.024.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what that basically means is it wasn't very high at the time that they tested it, but it was in its system.
What, alcohol or?
Yeah, both.
Oh.
I think. So I'll have to get, because I have it right in my head. he sent the reports, but
Right.
I knew in my skimming over it that I knew that it was found that something was in his system. I just wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, very little traces of it, and like Kimberly, she used to get she,
Not disrespectful because I believe
right.
I don't even know what you feel like and don't want to know what you feel like about this happening. I'm very sorry that it occurred. This whole situation has occurred, but I have to say that the circumstances and me just kind of skimming over the case and looking at photographs and such as that, for the way he looked and what I'm hearing, that he fits the classic, what appears to be, especially since some was found in his system, is the way that his weight had, he had lost weight and such would indicate that somebody sometimes has been using some type of amphetamine.
Okay, well, I mean, the weight loss.
I'll
Right.
just tell you this, just from my own, you may know a lot more about it than I do.
Well, I mean, that's what I was getting
know
ready to share with you. Is I mean, the weight loss is, I would say, probably is the stress, and like I said, Kimberly, she had prescriptions of Adderall, and
Yeah.
and I know that he didn't take the Adderall, but he did take Xanaxes. And that's what got me too. Is he was on Xanaxes, but he quit doing Xanax. Yes, and I know this for a fact because me and him talked about it, and I know he smoked marijuana, and he drank a few beers when he got off of work. I mean, we talked. I mean, it ain't like he was a saint,
No, that's what I'm saying. Is nobody is no.
Right, right. And I'm being perfectly as honest as I can with all this because I don't want to know the truth. And like I say, with them just coming up with like methamphetamines and a little bit of alcohol, I'm wondering why didn't they come up with any kind of trace of marijuana or any kind of Xanaxes? And I know for a fact that he took Xanaxes and he smoked marijuana.
All we can go by,
Yeah.
is by what is
Right.
shown in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the lab does their job, and it is what it is. They don't win or lose by saying it's something that it's not.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just what they test for and they find. But having said that, the effects of methamphetamine is not good on anybody, and one of the things it causes is drastic weight loss, and the other is to cause them to be very hyperactive, aggressive at times, very aggressive.
Right.
And it's nothing but speed, all it is. But when they take it in that form, it's so powerful that it causes good people to do bad things.
Yes, I understand that. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know for a fact that I've never seen him do it. So, I mean,
yeah. Okay. Well, you can only say what you know.
Right.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think you need to tell me that we hadn't discussed?
Okay, and about the handwriting samples. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my ex-wife has got the supposedly original copy of the suicide note.
What's her name?
Elaine.
What's her last name?
Rowland.
And do y'all still communicate it at all?
Lord, no. When you talk to her, I'll be the dirtiest person you ever heard of. The most drug addicted and everything. But that's just the way she is. And I mean, you'll hear I can tell you all kinds of bad stuff about me, but you'll know when you talk to her. But
well, listen here.
But what got me was with that.
I'd like to get that note from her. But what were you going to tell me about that?
That's exactly what I was going to get at. See, I don't know how to explain this, but when Lee went there, she was all for. They really don't like me for some reason. I ain't even been in their lives in 15 years, but they just still, she just still hates me. So, yeah, but Lee was like, he was trying to talk to her and, get the note from her and show her, that, he needed the note to compare it. And
Right.
she had doubts, that it might not have been, but she would not release that note, that letter to
Well,
him.
she was questioning probably. Yeah, I can see her using it as an excuse, but it really shouldn't have never been with her anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a big part of it.
It's supposed to be this is where it's supposed to be, but that's neither here or there. So I'll be. Do you have a phone number for her? I'm sure it's documented in this case file, but do you have one?
It's in my email. I'll look it up in a few minutes and check it out.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you as soon as if I can get it, or you could probably get it quicker.
I probably can. Don't even worry about that. I'll get it. I know it's documented in the case file.
But I mean, if you could get that right there, I mean, when Lee showed me the pictures of the copy of it and pictures of another handwriting, I thought it was Logan's myself. Because I mean, there's actually words, that's the same. I thought.
Why would you think it was Logan?
Because I mean, if that was supposedly his handwriting, then I mean, I would think, okay, that was his, but it wasn't. Is what I was getting at.
You knew it not to be. If you knew it not to be Logan's,
I didn't know whose it was.
you couldn't tell me.
Yes, I could tell that whoever's handwriting it was that he was showing me in one was the same handwriting who wrote that suicide note. And whoever wrote it, you'll see, it's in the statement. Yes, but before he even told me who wrote the or where he underlined the letters, I didn't see no names or nothing.
Yeah.
It was Chris Lee's handwriting on his statements. Is where he got the handwriting samples.
Oh, okay.
And if you look at his statement that he wrote down in jail to Jason Bowman, then look at that statement and then look at the suicide note, and you can do your comparison there. But you'll need a professional to do it. But I mean, you can just use your own senses and see what it says right there.
Right.
That's what I was getting at when he showed me them. I was like,
Well, we definitely gonna try anyway.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, and just like Lee was talking about, if we could get them phone records, it would show how long Chris was at Logan's house that night. He was even admits he was there that night, and puts a deer on his front porch.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't really know what to think about that.
Well,
I mean, I don't understand why he would have went.
Can I be completely honest with you?
Yes.
Well, this is just a picture that's come into my mind just because of looking at the totality of the circumstances of how this picture is being painted for me is if they work together, Logan and Chris work together, they've developed a good relationship, they're close, but they got the whole mix going with with his sister being involved with him, and he's got Kim, and all of them are doing some kind of drugs, probably, every one of them. To include Chris for sure, and probably, I feel I would almost bet on it, and it being methamphetamine, and also Logan was too, most likely. That's the reason of the weight loss and things that come with that. And in that lifestyle, what happens is you got a bunch of people running around that are not sleeping a whole lot, but they work themselves to death. I mean, they're functioning meth people. They just go crazy. And the money they earn, they spend it on more meth, I guess. I don't know. But it also makes them very crazy. So in this one right here, I can see him being out, Chris hitting the deer, and then in that, out under the influence of methamphetamine, most likely, and probably decided that he'd take it over there to the house and whatever, throw it on his porch or whatever he intended on doing. But I can picture some of the people being under the influence of that drug that would cause them to do some silly stuff like that, just because they got so much energy, they don't know what to do with it. And it makes them very aggressive. So I could see all this stuff that you're talking about happening. That's kind of the picture I'm getting, or that right there. But I also could see that there's a great possibility that they had some kind of physical confrontation too, because they've already had it in the past. And if you mix them together with some depression going on, and some meth, throw some meth into it, and all that other stuff, I mean, it adds up to, it makes good people do bad things. And sometimes, like what you said, it's a great possibility it could have been an accident. But I don't know. It's just a whole lot of questions here that haven't been answered.
Right. But I mean, we're basing this methamphetamine thing on because of the toxicology report that showed very, very little.
I'm going to start with that, but then I'm going to talk to a lot of people and ask who was doing it and who wasn't. And so
there you go.
Those people, when I talk to them, be different than Mr. Wilson going to talk to them, because Mr. Wilson's a private investigator.
Right.
Some people are apprehensive to speak to those people, and but when I go to them as a law enforcement officer to talk to them about this case, maybe they're a little bit more open with who was doing what and who had been doing what and how much had they been doing, and was they doing it at the time. There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, right.
So hopefully we'll get that. I don't know, Mr. Willis. It's not going to be because I don't ask the questions. It might be that I don't get the answer, or I don't get the right answer. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to try to.
Right. I understand that perfectly clear. And just like I was saying, you take the methamphetamine out of the situation, and even, I'm just saying, take that out of the situation. Why would Chris and him ain't even talked in 2 months? Why would he go by there and throw a deer on his porch? And not only that, and I mean, I can understand, because Logan called, supposedly from Kimberly, Logan called Chris's mama and told Chris's mama about it, and supposedly he was mad about it.
Wait, told Chris, Logan called Chris's mama to tell her that Chris had dumped a deer on his porch?
Yes. Okay. And then...
How do you know that?
Huh? That was from Kimberly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Stop right there just a second. I got to make some notes.
Okay.
Do you know Miss Lee's first name right off the top of your head?
Chris Lee?
Chris's mama name.
Oh, no, not right off the top of my...
That's okay. Making some notes.
Jennifer, that's it.
Okay. That's good. Let me keep making some notes.
What was that guy's name? Frankie, that interviewed in Florida.
So did Kim Cook tell you how she found out about that?
She said she was sitting right there when Logan called. That's what she said.
Well,
and
okay.
Jennifer said she talked to him.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, at the funeral home. I may jump back and forth because I can't really think of everything like point. Okay. What was his name? Ramos. Eddie Ramos.
Now, when you say that Jennifer Lee said it at the funeral home, did she say that where you heard it, or how did you hear about that?
He was just talking, and I heard it.
You heard it. I stopped right there.
When we was talking about burying him and cremating him.
Hold on. What exactly did she say at the funeral home?
I don't know word from word.
Tell me your best.
She just said she talked to him that night at 9 o'clock is all I know.
I stopped right there.
It even says it in that damn magazine that they wrote in. Have you ever read that magazine?
I got the entire case file from Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, well, she even says it in the West Georgia magazine too.
Okay, you said that in front of you, she admitted that she talked to Logan at about 9 p.m. on the incident date, and did she say anything else about him calling her on the phone?
No.
Okay, but she said that she talked to him about 9 p.m.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Did she say anything else about what was said at 9 p.m. on the phone?
No.
Okay. All right. What was you gonna say about
Eddie Ramos? Eddie Ramos? He was.
Yeah, I read that part of the report about him riding over with him to check on Logan.
Yeah, he didn't even get interviewed until Lee had to track him down. They didn't even have that in it. You know, he wasn't even in the. But they said he was there, but he wasn't even interviewed with Chris.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
and
I read his statement.
Yeah, and well, I mean, he didn't have a statement until Lee went down there and talked to him about going over there. And I thought that was weird, that if there was another person there, I mean, it seems like they should have talked to him too. But I mean, that
But that's neither here nor there now.
Right.
It happened. So.
Well, anyway, what I was going to get at with that is supposedly, you read that article and they describe, how Chris found him, and he was down on his knees for all tore up and this, that, and the other, and he was upset about it,
Yeah.
Okay. But then in Eddie Ramos's, when he's giving his statement, he asked.
I read that about it. They wanted to stop and get the deer off the porch.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know if that's before his daddy got there saying, I guess, because his daddy was going to do something to him, or I don't know. Or he was going to have to talk to his daddy about why he was over there and why he put that deer on there.
Or maybe he had to ask the police or tell them why he was there that night or whatever. But I mean, that right there is trying to cover his tracks of being there. But then but not only that, I mean, if Logan's door was open on his truck and his keys under his mat and his front door's locked, why would he go through the trouble of hiding his keys underneath the mat?
Yeah.
I mean, and why wouldn't he close his truck door and lock it like he did the front door?
Yeah.
So.
A lot of unanswered questions here, Mr. Willis. Maybe we'll try to get answers to as many of them as we can.
Right. And if they're such good buddies, I mean, did he really actually have to have somebody go with him to go check on Logan, or was that more or less just an alibi statement that that's the way Chris found him? I mean, when they're such good buddies, why couldn't he just ride over by himself? But his daddy made it.
That even crossed my mind. Why did the Jennifer, the mom, why did she send both of them?
Right. Made it a point that he had to have somebody ride with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, that's the thing. And if it was such a big job that she writes in that statement that they had to have Logan, that morning, they made it like it was so important for him to be there that morning. But, I mean, what kind of big job was it that my little 19-year-old boy had to be there,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of it didn't line up. and
Yeah.
and that's why I say that it it could have been an accident. I mean, maybe they did get into it because of something. Things got out of hand.
Yeah.
But I
That's
mean,
a good possibility.
and if that was the case, I don't want to see, if he would have stood up right then and said something, I mean, I might have forgiven him, but for him to, if it was an accident and them to be friends, you don't
Yeah.
hang somebody up off the back porch and then try to go find them the next morning to make it look like a suicide because you got scared. If he would
Right.
have did the right thing, then that might have been different. But this, you can tell with the way Lee described it and his evidence, the pictures, that you can see to where that was a stage scene. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ABC.
Well, it definitely has a possibility. That is it? We don't know. Will we be able to prove anything? Don't know that either yet. So we got to get some answers to a whole lot of questions.
Right. I mean, if we go about it like it was the stage scene, I mean, you can see that. I mean, that's evidence there. It's a stage scene. I mean, I'm not saying that out of opinion. I mean, it's the evidence is there in the pictures. Just like if his power was out, how did a whole bag of ice stay frozen all night? Who put that bag of ice in there that morning? There was a whole bag of ice in the freezer. If you look through the pictures and see that bag of ice in the freezer,
Yeah.
it all the ice is there. So, and if the doors was locked and all that, and then supposedly from what I heard, I don't know if it's in the statements or not, but all of them's on the back porch whenever the police get there. And then Chris calls his daddy before he even calls the police or anybody, and waits till his daddy gets there before they even call the police or the paramedics or anything. I mean, what would you do if you saw your best friend hanging from a porch? Would you hit the ground and cry and call your dad and wait 30, 45 minutes before you even call for help? Right. No, I wouldn't either. I mean, I would at least try to, cut him down or call the police or something. I mean, the way they described it is he fell to his knees and was sobbing and this, that, and the other and called his daddy and not the police and then wait till he gets there and then wait another 20 minutes before they call the police. They was all there like approximately 45 minutes before the police was even called, 911.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, man.
but is there any way that you, have you talked?
Hold on a second. Just a second. Okay, now what was you going to say?
Is there any way that you can call Lee? He was wanting to talk to you too.
That's going to be somebody else that I speak with as I go through this. I've just got a whole bunch of things I'm kind of trying to get myself organized about how I want to do the things that I've got lined up to do, and just working at it one by one. But he's definitely going to be somebody I speak to eventually. So now, Mr. Willis, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you think is important?
At this time, no. But I mean, if I think, like I say, it comes.
Believe me, Mr. Willis, when you hang up the phone, as time passes, you'll probably think of this, that, and the other that you wish you would say while we were on the phone.
Exactly.
But when you do, just write those things down, and when we have time to talk again on the phone, tell me what they are.
Yes, sir. I sure will.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Bye.